Right, so we are starting the recording now. So let me share my screen. Okay, can you all see my presentation? Okay, so one thing that I've discovered is that if I enlarge this and do my actual slides, let me just admit somebody quickly. Okay, if I enlarge it like like a slideshow, whenever I move to the next slide, then you can no longer see it on the other side. So I'm going to try and for all my lectures use the PowerPoint just like this, and then I'll just make sure that the font is large enough for you to be able to see. Okay. So yes, welcome to Statistics and Visualization for 2025. I hope you're all in the right class. It's called BIA713. And the aim of this module is basically to help you to get to the end point, right? The end goal for all of you is to get to doing your research project. So you're going to do a project next year. Once you've completed all the coursework this year, next year you'll have approximately 3 to 4 months to continue to do all of the steps that you need to do to finalize your research project, which you should be doing with the business that you're working with or some kind of connection or interaction with a business problem. Okay, so the point of this module, statistics and visualization, is to help you understand what you're supposed to do with the data that you receive from your business partner. Okay, so they will give you, hopefully, they'll give you some data, which is generally just in a spreadsheet. And then it is your job to now look at this data, do some manipulations, do some calculations, do some visualizations, and then be able to understand what the data is telling you. And then going from there, you're going to do some, depending on what your research problem is, you are going to then create either a dashboard, or you can create a okay, I won't teach you the dashboard. In one of the other modules, you'll be able to learn how to do the dashboards if you haven't learned how to do that yet. But you'll be able to do some predictions. Okay, so when we get to that section, I'll explain a little bit more. But so this module is there to help you understand what is happening in the data, do some basic descriptive statistics, and then we'll teach you how to do visualizations on the calculations that you've done using R. Okay, so okay, let me not get into all the statistics right now. Let me first introduce myself. So I am Chanel Morkel. I have been lecturing this module now for the third time. This is my third year. And I am housed in the science faculty, not in the EMS faculty. The statistics department is found in the CAMS building if you're ever on campus. If you are looking for me when you're on campus, maybe just pop me an email because I'm teaching you guys in the evening online. I don't necessarily go into campus every day. But I am there certain days. So if you'd like to make an appointment, we can either set up a meeting online, or we can do an in-person meeting on campus if you so wish. So yeah, so this is my details. You can send me an email anytime. I'll check my email every day. I might not be able to have an answer for you immediately, but I will definitely get back to you on the day or the day thereafter. Okay. The course material that we will use, it's a free ebook that you can just download. It's called Open Intro to Statistics. And the edition that I have here is the fourth edition. We will do all of the chapters from chapter 1 to chapter 9. It sometimes doesn't feel like it is done chronologically, like from point A to point Z. So we'll just go through whatever we can, and hopefully it'll make sense to you in the end. So it is on eCanva already under the course material section under course resources. So you can just download it from there. If you have problems downloading it, maybe you can just Google it and see if you can download it in that way. And then there are additional material on your Canva as well under the course resources. So you are free to use that when you are busy with your studying. So we're going to use R this year. We used R last year again also. So we chose R because everybody that does this module comes from different backgrounds. And it's impossible for me to teach all the different languages for this module. I mean, to teach this module in all the different software applications that are available. So the one that we have decided to use is R. It's what we teach our second years. Our first years do Excel, and then our second years start learning R. So we thought that this was the easiest transition for everybody who is coming from different backgrounds, and everybody might not have the same software application background. So we will be using R. Okay. That you can also download. It's free software. I have this version, but if you feel that this version is not working with your computer or for whatever reason, I'm sure you'll be able to download whatever version you're comfortable using. Sometimes there are a little bit of glitches with the software. As you know, there are updates and things like that that occur. Some of the calculations and manipulations that we'll do, some of the older versions might not have newer statistical applications, and so then we'll just have to download a new version of, not necessarily a new version of R, but just an update so that we can use the updated application. Okay, but we will, when you get to that point, then we can go through the steps on how to do that. But if you are stuck for whatever reason, you can Google everything. Okay. Then we have our lecture days. So we have lectures on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And I'll get to the schedule in the next slide. So we'd like to start at 5:30. Okay. I think on the original timetable it says from 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock. But what I've noticed over the years that I've taught is that a lot of people are working, and so sometimes you take a little bit of time to get home, just to throw your bag down, have a glass of water before you come to the class. So 5:30 seems to be the best solution for majority of the people. Now, obviously, some people might not be able to make it exactly at 5:30. So what we do is the first 5 minutes, 5 maybe 10 minutes, we'll discuss if anybody has any questions, something like that. That's something light if we need to discuss something before we'll actually start with the lecture. But also remember that we are recording all of the lectures. So if you miss anything because you are 5-10 minutes late, it's okay. You can just go through that again. Yeah, no problem at all. If you miss a class entirely, again, I can't police everybody, right? It's your future, it's your module. I will do my best to help you get through this module. But if you can't make it, you then have to take the time somewhere else to go through the lesson that has been recorded. Okay. If you miss it, then you miss it. Yeah, it's just one of those things. If you're sick, if you need to be somewhere, if you have a family commitment, if there's emergency, life happens. So we will record it. And thank you to those that have given their consent. If you are not happy with the recording, us recording this lecture, then I'm not sure what you're going to do because we have to go with the majority. Okay. Um, yeah. So the thing with eCanva is that it is connected to your your student email. So if I send out an announcement, like for example, class has been cancelled, or that there's protests happening such and such a date, or there's been an extension for an online test or an assignment, something like that. If I need to get hold of you, or if I just need to send you some information, I'm going to use a Canva, because there will be, so that there is a recording of all the announcements that I make, and that will go directly to your student email. So if you don't want to check your student email, then at least you have to check eCanva for any announcements that were made. Okay, because it will be in the announcement section, or it will be in your student email address. Excuse me. Okay, so you have to check that every day. So this is the schedule for the semester. Now, this is very small. So I'm just going to open a bigger one so that we can go through that quickly. If I can find it, this one. Okay, so here we have, let me make this a little bit bigger. This is the schedule for the semester. So these are this is the plan, right? But we know life is life and stuff changes. So we will do our best to work according to this schedule and this plan for the entire semester. But should things change, I will communicate that with you. If you feel like if there's a clash with something, if there's a problem with something, one of the dates are not making sense, etc., you send me an email. We can discuss it, and then we can take it to the class so that everybody is aware of the situation, and then we can make an informed decision about how to proceed further. Okay, so this is essentially what needs to take place. I'll explain the difference between the 10% and the 90% in a minute. So I just wanted to go through the schedule for the semester quickly. So, for example, I tried to give you an idea of what we will do each week. So, for today, we're doing the meet and greet. We'll go through the course outline and we'll select a class representative. And then, once the class is done this evening, then you can on your own download R if you haven't done that already, and then go through the introduction to R slides on your Canva. And I'll just show you where that is as well, because not everybody has registered yet. So I didn't want to start with actual course material today. We'll start with that on Thursday rather. And hopefully by then more people would have registered and attending the lectures. Okay, so after this, then you go and you download R and you go through the introduction slides on your own. You can just read through it. I'm not expecting you to understand everything that you're supposed to do. All I need you to understand is how what R looks like, if you haven't used it before, just to get familiar with visually what you're going to see on your computer. When we actually do some of then there's small little steps that you can take just to test out how things are run in R. But once we get to the statistics, then I'll show you exactly what code we need to use, etc., etc. Okay, and then so Thursday we'll start with the introduction, and then next week we'll do chapter 2, which is summarizing data, and we'll do some practical work on the Thursday. And then the next week we have this information. Week 4 we'll start with chapter 4. And then you'll notice here in week 5, we have no class on the Tuesday. And then in week 6, we have no class on the Thursday. That's just because I am not available on those days, but not to worry, we're not losing any time. We have lots of time in the whole semester to make up if we are behind for some reason, but we shouldn't be behind at all if we are keeping up with the pace. Okay, So this is basically what we're going to cover for the entire semester. You'll notice here that it says chapter 9 is multiple regression and chapter 9 is logistic regression as well, because this is the same chapter, it's just broken down into two different sections. And I would like to take two different weeks to cover those two sections. Okay, so I don't want to rush it because that's when we build models. So I don't want to rush that section. Okay, and then you'll see here at the end, here's a public holiday. I'm not sure. I think the 21st of March is also a public holiday. And then we have nothing in this week scheduled. And that is basically if we need to go over some work that we have previously done, or if we, let's say, we take an extra week to do Introduction to Linear Regression, then we can push all of these down 1 week and we'll still have time here in our schedule that won't delay anything. Okay, so that's the idea, is that we have some free time. We don't necessarily have to use that time for classes. You can use that time for your studying if you have other tests that you need to write, whatever the case is. Or we can say, okay, let's do revision in this week because we need extra time on chapter 1, chapter 7, whatever the case may be. Okay, but we can discuss when we get to that point. Let me just admit this person. Okay. Okay, so this, on the other side of the schedule, you'll notice that we have theory, online theory tests, and then we have assignments. So previously we only had assignments that counted for towards your CAM in this module, but I thought I'd like to add some online theory tests. So we tested it out last year with the students, but it didn't count towards anything. Okay, so it was extra work to do, but it didn't count towards your final mark, and so it wasn't very well used. Okay, so the idea of online theory tests is to help you get used to the theoretical side of statistics. Now, it's not going to be heavy theoretical stuff because this module is to teach you how to make visualizations. So it's more application based. But we need you to understand the theory so that you can explain what your visualization is telling you. Not only telling you, but how you are going to report it to your business partner or whoever is going to read your research report at the end of the day. So this is where we want you to, what my thought process is, that having you do some theory tests. It's not very in depth. It's not like you're going to have to answer an essay. It's simple multiple choice questions. Okay, so we're going to ask you what is a sample, and then you need to choose one of the 4 options or 5 options and make your selections. Okay, so it's a simple question. We're going to ask you something that's theory based. So there's going to be no calculations that you have to do in there because we're not teaching you how to do the calculations based on the theory, right? We're teaching you how to apply your theory knowledge and use R to get an output. Okay, so that is what we need you to understand. What I found was helpful with the first year modules that I teach is if we allow students to do the same test over and over and over and over, it helps you retain more of that theory that you have read through for a longer period of time. So every test that you will start, let's say your first test you do and you get 7 out of 10, because it'll generally just be a 10-mark question, right? 10 questions, so it won't take you that long. And like I said, it'll be theory based, so there's no calculations that you have to do. Okay, so let's say the first test you get it, you do it, you complete it, you submit, and you get 10 out of 10. Then you can, so Canva, you'll do the test on your Canva. Canva will save your mark somewhere. Then you decide, okay, you're not happy with the 7, you're going to do another try. Now, the second time you get it, you're going to get a different set of questions covering the same topic or the same chapter, but a different set of questions because we have a database of questions and questions will randomly be selected. So every student will get a different question in every test. When you repeat every test, you will also get different questions. Now, let's say you do the test 20 times. Then by the 20th time, you would have gotten a repeat question. Because, yes, we have a database, but our database is not a million questions big. Okay. So by the time you get to the 20th time, you want to redo the same test, you will have seen a question that was repeated already. But there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's still you're testing yourself. Then, let's say the second time you do it, you get 5 out of 10. So, which one will Ikamba record? It will record the 7 out of 10. Then you do the test the third time and you get 9 out of 10. So now Ikamba will take that highest 7 that you got and remove it, and now it will record your 9 out of 10. If you do it fourth, fifth, you can do it as many times as you like, but it will only be open for 1 day. Okay, so whenever you want to do it, whenever you feel comfortable doing it, whenever you have time, and you can redo it as many times as you want. We will then take the best 5 marks for the possible 7 tutorial tests, not tutorial tests, theory tests that you write for the semester. So this is the schedule. Right now, it's up. It's let's say this is our schedule, but you come to me in week 4 and say, sorry, but somebody planned a test for us to write on the 20th of March, for example, right? And now we have one scheduled, but if we have a discussion beforehand, then we can maybe shift it to another day. Remember, we don't really want to shift it because then it throws the rest of the schedule out. But if there's a clash with another test, then obviously I don't want you to be overwhelmed by that. So we can then discuss that. Okay, so there are 7 online tests that are scheduled for the semester. If you miss one, it's okay. You have another 6 that you can complete. If you miss 2, that's okay. There's another 5 that you can complete. Let's say you are going away for the long weekend, yeah, where there's no class and there's a public holiday. You're going away over the weekend and you're going to miss this test. It's okay because there are 6 other tests that you want that you can write. Just make sure that you write the other tests because we will then only use the average of the best 5 marks of the 7. Okay, does that make sense? Right. Then your assignments, you will have 2 assignments to submit. Next week, I will send you the questions and the data that we're going to use for that. So I'll give you all the questions. We'll hand it out next week. And then the first one needs to be submitted on the 28th of March. And the second one needs to be submitted on the 2nd of May. So the dates were selected in this manner because, well, for 2 reasons. Excuse me, the first one, which is the most important one, and it was the second assignment needs to be submitted no later than this date so that I can mark it and give it back to you and have queries before the CAM needs to be published on the 15th or 16th of May. So you can see that that's a very short time span, right? And there potentially can be 30 students. So I need to mark everything and then give your papers back to you so that you can go through it, check the memo, and then if you have any queries, you can come back to me and we can update your marks if it needs updating before we need to release your CAM on the 15th of May. So there's not much room to delay the submission of the second assignment. Okay. And the second reason was because I need you to finish some coursework before you actually have sufficient knowledge to complete your assignment. Okay, I don't want you to have, let's say, assignment one wants you to do linear regression, but we're only doing linear regression afterwards. Okay, so yes, there's some leeway in terms of we can delay some of the classes and some of the work that we do, but we don't want to delay it too far because I don't want you to have to um, do like an inference for categorical data and you have and we in your assignment and we haven't completed it in class because that just creates anxiety and it's unnecessary, okay, because we're planning for a reason. So those are the two reasons why I selected these two dates for the assignment, so that we can finish sufficient work before you must submit, and so that I can have enough time to mark your work and give it back to you for queries before the CAM is finalized. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Okay, so your assignments still count more. The weighting is heavier because essentially this module is about your statistics and visualization. Okay, so the online theory tests are to help you when you answer questions in the assignment. But it's not the main purpose of this module is not to have you writing down theory questions, right? It's the theory questions are there to help you understand the theory in order to answer your questions in your assignment better. And your assignments will help you to study for your exam. Okay, because your exam will be a take-home exam, and it will be like a big assignment for you to do, in a nutshell, basically. All right, that is the schedule. Um, let's just go through the breakdown quickly of the marks. So your CAM, like I said, is made up of two parts, the assignment part and the online MCQ tests. We will use an average of the two assignments and the average of the best 5 online tests. And you need a minimum of 50% for your CAM to qualify for the final exam. Okay, so if you do not get 50% for your CAM, it means that you cannot write the final exam. You will not be allowed to, and then you have to repeat the module next year. Okay. It is favorable to try to get a better mark than 50%. Because once you write the exam, remember the exam is only going to be a certain amount of hours that you can complete your almost like your assignment, right? So you have much less time to complete your final exam because we'll give it you, for example, 9 o'clock in the morning, and for example, you need to submit it 5 o'clock the afternoon, right? So you'll only have that limited time to complete your exam. So sometimes, or most of the time, it is you are basically working against the clock, right? So it is favorable for you to have a better CAM mark so that you have sort of help you with your final exam, with your final mark, if I can put it like that. Okay. If you don't get your minimum of 50%, like I said, then you will have a fail and you have to repeat, or a DNQ, do not qualify, and then you have to repeat the module next year. The exam will be take home. You will submit two things. You will submit your report to me and you will submit your R code. There is an internal moderator that will mark your work, and there's an external moderator that will mark your work as well, because it's a postgrad module. And you need to get 50% in the exam itself. Okay, there is a sub minimum of 50% that you need in the final exam paper itself in order for you to pass. If you've got 45% in the final exam, you will fail the module. no matter what your CAM is. Even if your CAM is 90%, if you get 45% in your final exam, unfortunately, it's a fail and you have to repeat the module next year. So the minimum you have to get is 50% for your CAM and you have to get 50% for your exam itself. Your CAM counts 50%, your exam counts 50%. But remember, there's a sub minimum of 50% in the final exam that you need in order to pass. So this is the example that I was explaining. If your CAM is 60% and your exam is 40%, your overall mark will be 50. But it still means that you fail. Because in the exam itself, you did not reach the minimum of 50%. So you have to get, it's a must. You must get 50% CAM and you must get 50% in the exam. Okay. Unfortunately, that's how it is for all our postgraduate modules, not only in my faculty, but in the EMS faculty as well. Okay, so that must happen. Yeah. Are there any questions based on the things that I've just said?
Ma'am, how long is the take-home exam again?
Excuse me?
How long is the take-home exam? How much time do you have?
I haven't set the exam yet, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
But it's generally one working day,
Okay.
which means 9 to 5 or something like that. But I mean, depending on the questions, I don't want to tell you it's going to be 9 hours and then it takes 10 hours to complete. So depending on how the exam paper itself is set, I remember that when we set exam papers, it has to go to an internal moderator and an external moderator so that they can check that the questions are relevant and there's sufficient time for you to complete. So yeah, when I have more information, then I will tell you that. Cool. Anything else? I think maybe you joined late and you didn't hear me earlier, but it is better to attend, but nobody can force you to attend. If you can't make it for whatever reason, you can't make it. It is better to attend, but like I said, it's up to you. We always start off with a full class, and by the end of the term, we are generally just 6 or 7 people that remain. And generally, it's those 6 or 7 people that end up passing. So, yeah, take from that what you will. Classes will be recorded, so you can check it out on Canva, but it's up to you. Yes, Yusuf.
So, sorry, I'm not sure if you were referencing my question, but I
Yes.
was more asking around, is there anything, any classes or practicals that we'd have to attend in person on campus?
Oh, in person. No, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Sorry.
Okay.
No, no.
Well, thank you.
But everything, my apologies, everything will be online because it's a part time module, right? So part time students are not required. Well, from my understanding, the this entire course it's online, and then but apparently there is the option of being blended, but no, I don't require you guys to have anything on campus in terms of resources, right? So it's not like I need you to be able to sit in a particular lab for a particular thing to be able to complete a particular thing. All you need is your mind, your computer, and your textbook. That's all you need. Okay, so we can do that online. No, we won't be in person for anything unless you what I said earlier. If you want some consultation in person, then sure, we can arrange that. But just consultation, no classes or practicals. Does anybody have any other questions? No? Okay, I'm just going to open the course outline quickly. Um, let me start sharing. Okay, so I'm sure that you have gone on the Canva already and you have checked out what is there already. This is the course outline for this year. It explains a little bit the objective of the course, which I went through right at the beginning. These are my contact details. We have your learning outcomes, the ebook that I explained where you could find it, when our lectures will take place, how the evaluation is set up for the semester, in terms of what assessments we will complete. I've explained this to you using the slides. Your CAM counts 50% and your exam counts 50% as well. Here you can see your assignments, the average of the two submissions count 90%, and your online tests, the average of your best 5 online tests. So so for the online tests, it's your individual marks, right? That's going to count for you. And then I will calculate the average of the best 5 of your marks, and that counts 10%. This usually helps those students who just need an extra 5 or 6% to get from 46% CAM to a 50% CAM in order to qualify to write the exam. So that is why we added it this year. And then your final exam, you need 50% in the actual exam paper itself in order to pass, because there are no re-evaluation or supplementary exams for this module. Meaning, if you fail the exam, you don't have a second chance. There's no sub, there's no reval. You have to repeat the whole module. Okay, all UWC postgraduate courses work that way. There are no supplementary exams, so you have to get that 50% in the exam itself. And then I added the schedule here as well. And then your late submissions, this is the rule for late submissions. If you have an assignment that's due on the 28th of March, for example, each day that it is late, 20% will be deducted, meaning if it's more than 5 days late, you're going to receive 0 for your assignment. So try to work according to that schedule. If there are any students with disabilities, you can register with the office, with OSWD, which is the Office for Students with Disabilities. And then you can register with them, and then they will inform me if we need to do anything. If we need, by do anything, I mean, when we write online tests, maybe you need some extra time, maybe you need the font enlarged, something like that. So you can discuss that with that particular office, and then they will inform me, and I will make adjustments as necessary. Okay, I think that is basically everything that we covered in our meet and greet slides. The last thing that I wanted to do today is selecting a class representative. Okay, shall we do the class representative today? So what is the purpose of the class representative? If there is concerns on your side as student body, you guys can have a meeting or discussion, and then you, the person that you select as your class rep, you explain what is needed or what you want, and your class rep can then come to me and we can discuss, and then the class rep can take it back to the class itself. That's if there are any disputes or anything like that. If you'd like to bring it up yourself in a lecture, you are more than welcome to. If you want to bring it up yourself via email, you are more than welcome to. But if you feel like you don't want to do it yourself, that is the job of the class representative. We will then discuss whatever needs to be discussed. If we cannot come to a resolution by ourselves, then we will take it to the HOD, which is my HOD, or we can take it to Johan Breitenbach, who is the coordinator for this course itself. And then we can discuss further like that. Is anybody willing to take on this job? Anybody want to nominate themselves first? No? Nobody want to stand up? Does anybody want to nominate somebody else? No. Okay. We can park it and discuss it again on Thursday. Think about it a little bit, and then Thursday we can chat about who will be the class representative for this module. You would Okay, we have a nomination here. You're not nominating yourself. Can everybody read the comment in the chat? Does anybody else want to second that nomination? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So we have two nominations now, Nico and Siyabonga. I don't think we can just raise your hand. I think you need to. Are you raising your hand like you want to ask a question, or are you voting for somebody? So it's Nihiko and Siyabonga. So we have 2 and 2. Okay, who are you voting for? Right. Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3 for Nihiko and 2 for Siyabonga. Anybody else want to vote? Okay, so let's have both of them be class reps. How does that sound? Okay, everybody's agreeing to that. Right, so Nico and Siyabonga, can you please send me an email? I just need your student number and your email address, please. And once you send me that, then I can forward it to our departmental administrator so that they can have just have your details if they need to contact you for any reason, but also so that I can have your contact details. So your student number, your cell phone number, and your email address. 3 things. Okay, can you please send that to me? And then I will forward that along. Okay, do we have any more questions for this evening?
Ma'am, I just wanted to make sure you said something about like this course being part-time. Was it a mistake on your part, or am I getting it wrong?
Is it not part-time? It's all everybody's classes in the evening, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, maybe let me just say it's all evening classes then.
Okay, because they did explain that it's not necessarily like a 12 month because you have the research
It's
for like
18
next year.
months.
Hmm.
It's 18 months. This
Yes, 18
course,
months, not
18
12.
months. Yeah.
So like the full time is the 18 months.
Full time, 18 months. Yes.
Okay, okay.
No,
So,
full time, but it's in the evening. That's what
yes.
I meant by part time. Sorry.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought
Sorry.
maybe like
I
I enrolled
used the
in.
wrong term.
Yeah, okay, I can
Yes.
understand. Yeah, so full time is 18 months, the research is next year.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Please also just prepare yourselves that later that it seems like there's 6 months next year to complete your research, but actually there's just like 3 to 4 months. Okay? So
Ma'am, actually, with the research, I just wanted to ask, when does it start? Does it start in January or Feb?
towards the end of the year,
Uh-huh.
Dr. Breitenbach will start discussing with you about getting your data in order.
Okay,
So it's valuable or to your benefit if you can discuss with your business partner, like maybe next semester already, what you are going to work, what data you are allowed to work on for your project, for your business problem, which you're going to do next year. Because the biggest challenge with this course is getting data
okay,
and working with data. So, what you want, what we find students are most successful with is if they are working on data that they are actually working with. So maybe you don't actually work with the data right now, but that is the plan. Once you've completed this course, you're going to start working with data. But anything related to what you are actually doing in your business, right? So having that business partner, and if you don't have that, then it's beneficial to speak to Dr. Breitenbach as early as possible, so that you can organize something. If you need to make a partnership or connection with a business so that you can have your data, then the sooner you get that done, the better. Once you have your data, by the end of the year, you need to have that secured. You need to actually have that data on your computer. You need to go through whatever ethics you need to go through in order to use that data so that by next year you can start because you are against the time next year. So I'll be supervising some students now for this first 6 months, but this is something that Dr. Breitenbach would have dealt with or done with these group of students last year already. So you guys now are fresh now this year. So you need to now get your data sorted before the end of this year. Once you have your data sorted, then you are ready for next year.
and
Because
so
I don't think you'll have time to do your research project this year. You're going
uh,
to be too busy with your your modules.
also just wanted to apologize. Sorry for like talking about another module now, which
No,
is
it's
the
fine. It's fine.
BIA710. So that I haven't really received any communication with regards to that module, or like
That's
even
is
on
that
it.
tomorrow?
Oh, it's tomorrow.
Yes, I think that's tomorrow. I think
Okay.
yesterday was 7:11, today 7:13, and tomorrow 7:10.
So we should receive some communication
Yes, you should.
maybe tomorrow. Okay.
You should. If not, then you can maybe just ask Dr. Breitenbach if he knows anything. But by
Okay.
tomorrow, you should get some sort of information.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Yes, Yusuf?
So, when you say business partner, do you just mean like if you're working for a company already, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
now, is there any way that the university, any areas that the university maybe has sponsorships with where we can get maybe that data from? Because the organization I work for, I know now already they're not going to allow me to get company data, especially onto my personal laptop. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's going to be like, is
Yes.
there,
No, 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 no. We do understand that that is a problem, and there are many types of areas where data is confidential.
yeah,
So we do understand that, but that is just something that you have to discuss with Dr. Breitenbach, and maybe tell him now already that you need something. Otherwise, you can also look for data yourself If it's not in your company data, then maybe like Dr. Breitenbach usually gives an example of somebody that he had supervised previous years that was playing some sort of sports, and they then collected their own data with using, I think it was cricket or something like that, where they got some data for the cricket that they were playing for, and this person did some like really good report on that. Did some statistics, visualizations, and all of those things. So it is possible for you to either start looking on your own for data what you can use, or you can speak to him now already, make a connection, and then either now or you can wait till next semester, just as long as you try to get that data before the end of the year. He will help you in that regard.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay. So it's just something that you have to actually tell him that you know, sorry, early on that you need data and your company is not going to give you data because of confidentiality. And I mean, that we know it happens. Like if you're working for a bank, they're not necessarily going to give you that data. We know that. So it's just sometimes, however, there are some types of data, even though majority is confidential, there's some types of data that they're willing for you to use. I mean, it needs to be anonymous and whatever. But yeah, it's something that you have to discuss with him. Okay, cool. Yes, somebody else put up their hand.
Like one last thing, I just wanted to ask,
Yes.
what type of data should we be looking for? If I may just get clarification on that.
Data can be anything. I can't
Uh-huh.
tell you one specific thing because,
Okay.
I mean, what we found is that something that you are interested in works best. Because if you, like, for example, if you're not into sports, you're not going to want to work with sports type of data. If
Okay.
you have to, you will. But the input that you're going to give or the insight that you have is not as it would have been if you're working with data that you're comfortable with. So the data might be, if you are in the banking industry and you're allowed to see certain types of data, then because you're working with that data, you can understand the data a little bit better, and that will help you with whatever business problem there is, right? Last year, for example, the student that I supervised, she was working for a mine, and so she had some data on mining, right? And we created a dashboard. She created a dashboard and things like that using that data. So it really depends on what business you are working with, and if you don't have a business partner, then you have to look somewhere else. But try to look for somewhere that you are interested in that topic or
Okay.
interested in that type of data,
So
because it
like,
really does help you.
yeah, so like even when you said like you can like also just look for data on your, like for example, maybe stats essay. I like
Yes,
my major was like in economics
there
undergrad,
we go.
so I can maybe just look up stats
Yes,
essay for the data that I need and see what I can come up with
yes.
their data.
Yes. You
Okay.
can look through that and then you can discuss with Dr. Breitenbach what you are able to do with that data. Because yes, you can get lots of data from Statista, but sometimes it's like, for example, you need to know what you want to create at the end of the day.
Yes.
um, uh, are you going to do something with information systems? Are you going to do something with statistics? Are you going to do something with management? Are you going to do something with whatever the case is? It depends on you and what direction you want your research to go into, right? Not everybody's going to do a statistical type of research project. So it really depends on what you want to do, what you want to learn how to do, what is going to challenge you, and having that business partner, they sort of sometimes give you a direction to say, okay, this is what we want you to be able to research. This is the business question that we want you to answer, and then based on that, is the data able to answer that question? That's basically what we want you to
Okay.
be able to
Because I
do.
also saw for next year, I guess, like I think there's three research modules, like the business intelligence, I think statistics and computer science, if I'm not mistaken. So like your data will mostly like be catering to like whichever research module you choose as well.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. Sorry, next was Sino. Yes?
Yes, ma'am. My question is just about the R that we have to download.
Yes.
Are we gonna maybe get a video on how to download, which version, maybe which Windows computer would they support, something like that?
All that information will be on Canva. So you can download. You can just type in or download. It's for free, and then we have some slides that's there to show you. Go through the steps of how to do the download. I can just show you where it is on your Canva so that you can all see it. I'll share my screen quickly. Logged out. I'll just log in quickly. Okay, so this is what Canva looks like, and 713. Sorry, can you all see what I'm doing? Yes?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
yes.
Okay, cool. Course resources. I just want to actually do this as a student so that you can see exactly what I see. I mean, I can see exactly what you see. Right, so here we have the course information, which is the course outline and the schedule that we went through today. Course material. Here you have some ebooks. This is the main resource that we will use, Open Intro. Statistics 4th edition. So here you have the R GUI instructional video. You have statistics using Excel and R. That is a almost like a guideline to everything that we're going to do. And then we have this introduction to R. So you can go here, it says download, install, and load packages, how to install, load, and import data. So you can just go through this and see what you can do. So all we need you to be able to do is download and just get used to what the interface is telling you, what is where, what is located where, the different places, etc., etc. But in terms of actual code, they'll run a few. Mr. Valentine goes through some steps on how to access some data, how to do like basic code, how to run, how to clear a page, how to save something, all of those things. Yeah, it's just like just to get you started. And then when we do some theory, and then I will do some practical work using R based on that theory, and then we'll go through the actual code together. Okay. Does that help? Okay. Cool. Anything else from anybody? No? Okay, so I think that is it for today. Thanks to everybody who joined. I know some people have left already, but thank you very much for joining today. Yeah, have a good evening, and I'll see you on Thursday again. We'll start with chapter 1. Thanks, everybody. Bye.